Hey guys, it's Irfan, and I've got a vintage Kenmore sewing machine from 1958. I got it from Sibel. She had it on Craigslist as salvage because it's not working and nobody picked it up. So I contacted her and told her I could send it away to the Philippines and they could service it there and somebody could use it to make a living. She was happy to give it to me, so I went around and picked it up from her last week. I'm going to give you a little overview of the sewing machine before I send it away. It's a good opportunity for you to see something from long ago, 1958, before I was born. Alright, it's in pretty good condition. The paint, the metal, everything is complete. I'm going to give you a run around. It doesn't work because it's been laid up for so long. It's kind of binding. The motor works. The motor has power. But that's about it. And I don't want to force it to cause any damage. Let them take care of it when I send it away. That's the front you were looking at. And this is the back. That's the motor. And it's got two spindles here for the thread. It's a multi-stitch, straight stitch and zigzag. Pretty modern for its time in 1958. Let's take a look at the motor and see what it says. Kenmore, and you could see that. Now I think these came in a case, but there's no case anymore with it. That's the side here with the wheel that turns off of the motor. This here is what you slacken when you're going to use the bobbin threader, and that's the bobbin threader here. There's a rubber missing from here, a little rubber wheel that goes in here. So when you put the bobbin in here and you close that in, that wheel makes contact with here to spin the bobbin with this here, and then you release it like that. That's your stitch length. Everything is stiff. This here is another control for it. Here's another control. Now that's something here also, whatever that is. It says lock on it, and it's a wheel that moves. Now this here where it says Kenmore, notice that looks like a Cadillac sign. This opens up and there's something in here, whatever that is, I don't know. Let's shed some light on it. That's what it looks like in there. I think it's got 0, 2, it might be a pattern wheel, and up here there's another pattern wheel of some sort. I don't know what that is. Here's another control. Needle position, left and right. Then you get that Kenmore Cadillac sign there. And it says lock, L-O-C-K. And this one 0, 1, 2, 3 stitch width. An R, an F-O forward and reverse. And you got 0 stitch length. That's this lever here. That's another part of the machine. This thing here, I think this controls the tension of the thread going through, because you're going to thread it. Cartridge, you know, the thread cartridge goes into one of these two, and it gets threaded through here, 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 whatever the pattern is, goes on to here, then into the needle. So this adjusts the tension. And in here, underneath here is the bobbin, and you lift this up, take that out, and the bobbin is in there. You see the bobbin? Old-fashioned style bobbin, metal. And here's another thing, whatever that is, some kind of control. That's something else there. I don't know much about, you know, these machines. That's the bottom of this cover that goes here. That's the bobbin. Now this little lever here that moves up, from what I remember from old sewing machines, you lift this up and you could pull the bobbin out, and that's the thread cartridge in there, and you put it back in like that and it should lock in. And here is serial number, or the model, that's the model number, serial number, Sears. It says, when requesting parts or service through our stores, always mention model 117.841, serial number on machine. And it says is the Sears Roebuck and Company USA, Simpsons something limited, Canada. And that's the serial number here, 923502. That's what the bottom looks like. Very clean. It's a clean machine. That's all the parts. There. It's got another number in there. Got a number on that thing too. That's a cover for something in there. That's some little control there. This, remember that little white switch? That's this here. And inside there you got some more moving parts. It's gonna need to be oiled up and let the oil soak in to free up all of the parts. I might do that before I send it off. So in the shipment, it takes like 2 to 3 months to get there by sea cargo. So during shipment, you know, the oil could soak in. By the time it gets there, a professional could take a look at it and get it working. Looks like GA01452 might be the chassis serial number. There's another shot of the stuff inside. Let me see if my light could work in there. You could see the workings there. I'm going to open up here, see what's inside, and put some oil in that. I'll oil all of these points, you know, everywhere on the manual. She gave me the manual as well. I showed you it here. Kenmore, and that's 117.841 is a complete manual, so it has all of the points that have to be oiled. I'll do all of that. Well, as I'm on it, let me just take this out and show you how that's the bobbin. It's a full metal bobbin. See that? Goes in and then goes back like that. So that's back in. See that little clip there? This goes in. This goes in like this and snaps down. And this is your, let me turn it to the side. See this here? That makes the presser foot go down and up. That's called the presser foot, this thing here. That's what clamps the cloth or the material. This opens up and you got more stuff in here to oil up. Alright, I'm using my cell phone flashlight here. That does it better. Let me see if I could show you. Now on here, this used to be a spindle like one of these here. That's missing. So what I'll do is I'll take a chopstick. I'll just stick it in here and cut it, you know, to a certain length, and that'll suffice for that. Now here's the foot control. This is original. You could see the antique look on it. The wires are getting cracked here, and on the other end that plugs into the machine, see that three prong? It's being taped up because it's getting cracked and exposed. That's the bottom of it. I'm going to plug it in and just show you that the motor has life, but it's really not turning much. That's where it plugs in, on the bottom of the motor, three-way. So that goes in like this. Just plug it into my outlet. And there's a light here, see? That's a switch. Let me turn it like this and you'll see. Disconnect that. And with this here, see? Making an effort to turn, so the motor is good, but all that stuff in here is gummed up. It's going to need some servicing. If I turn it by hand, you could see it's turning. See? It's moving. But I don't want to force the motor. So I just cut that chopstick, and if I put it in here, it'll stay, and they could use that to put in the reel of thread, whatever it's called, cartridge or whatever in there. They could always cut it down a little bit more if they want. Another thing, before I send it away, I'm going to use some of this here, polish, to clean it up and polish it, because where it's going to, the Philippines, that's tropical, and they have a lot of humidity, so the polish is going to seal off the paint and, you know, keep it from getting messed up. That's the other thing I wanted to tell you. Alright? So I want to oil up all of the parts under here. I'm going to use the cam buckle tie down straps. It was a lot of work, so I couldn't make the video from the beginning. Anyhow, I've got it here and here, strapped up there, and I've got it suspended, you could see. So this gives me access to all of these points in here that I gotta oil up. I'm just gonna put something under here so the oil doesn't drip through. Alright, so that was my plan, to use these cam buckle tie down straps. And it was resting on this here, and I just pulled on these to raise it up. And there you see it. Alright, that's how useful these straps can be, and it wouldn't walk back out because of the way the teeth are set up inside here. Gives me you know, ease to do the work. And it's not interfering with anything under there. It's all clear. Got these straps here. Got it hanging up here, and I'm using sewing machine oil, and this here, all of that in there was old grease. I'm going to take all of that out and put fresh grease, and you can see how it's turning easier now. See that? I oil up all over. That's where the bobbin is in there. Everything is turning easier now. In there too. All over there I put oil. I'm going to try it now and see. Give it a little start. It's binding a little bit. Making an effort to turn. A whole lot better than before. Binding at that point, a little stiff there. After that, then it gets loose. Like here, it gets loose there. So it needs a little bit more oil. And there you get to see it in action. That's the rig there. So I cleaned up all of the old grease from inside of this little compartment here where those gears are, and I'm gonna put new grease in it. STP, all purpose, stop teenage pregnancy. I'm gonna fill the whole thing up because the grease wouldn't leak, and you know, it's gonna be good for many years to come. Well, I got that filled up with the grease completely. I don't know if that's good or not, but I don't think it could do any harm. As I turn it, you could see. Alright, I'm gonna put the cover back on. And the cover has a marker there, you see here, that bump, so it goes on this way. And you can also see that offset, that hole that's offset here. So right now, here's what we got. Just like a sewing machine. And this here is variable. If you listen, you'll see. You look, you'll see too. You could reduce the speed. Just going slowly there. And then right. So I took this cover off. It's got 1, 2 screws. It just lifts right off, and you can see all of the oil what drained down from when I oiled it up. I'm gonna have to clean that up, and I have to check the manual and see if this takes oil or grease, and I'll do everything right now. This here is the pattern wheel. Let me turn it and see. This way. You could see, remember it wasn't turning before, and now everything is freed up. I think that might take grease, I'm not sure. I gotta check the manual and see. But it's a whole lot better now. And you remember this bobbin wheel wasn't turning. I got it to turn now, but I had to use to just give it a start. Now it's freed up. That's what I use here. Now it's free. Free as a bird. I cleaned off all the excess oil on this here now. I'm going to check the manual and see what has to go in here. I was lucky enough to find the manual online, and I printed it out. That's our model here. That's a different model. I checked that out. August 1957. And this page here shows all of these letter O's are the places that got to be oiled. Shows all of that. So these things here, which is here, it's saying it's got to be oiled on these that pattern selector and here. So I'll just do that, but when it gets there to the Philippines, they're gonna have to give it a going over themselves. Let the professionals do it. So this is what we've got so far. You can see that thing turning there too. Now, from what I recall, you know, using sewing machines in the past, this thing here, this is a clutch of some sort that disengages the whole mechanism so you could use the bobbin. But I think they're gonna have to take it apart and see why, even though I slacken it, it's still moving. Whether I slacken it or tighten it, the whole mechanism is still moving. I might be wrong, but I don't know. So there you see the inner workings of a sewing machine. I'm so glad I got it freed up and working. This here moves. That says stitch width. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It moves, and this thing in there moves with it. But this one here, I can't get this to move, so I don't know. I don't know what that is. That's needle position, and that's left and right. Doesn't move. You gotta take a look at that. I'm gonna put the cover back on. And tighten everything down. And this freed up too. See how easy this is turning? Got the cover back on, and that's what it looks like. You know, I got it in this box because I don't want oil seeping out of it and going on the floor. Give it another run. Now you can see how clean that wheel is. Nice and quiet. And I think I showed you before the light. There's a light there. The light works. Let's take a look in there and see how that moves. And before, this motor, the motor used to get hot. Now it's not getting any hot because everything is freed up. See? If you look here, it says stitch length. And it's got 0 and then F, I guess. I don't know what it is. Oh, and that's a reverse too. Reverse, forward, and then that's 0. So this here, this screws in and allows you to move this lever either all the way down and all the way up, or you could select, if you put it in here, if you screw it in here, it'll stop here, so you'll just be able to forward and reverse here, and that's your stitch length. But if you slack it out, you'll be able to go down more and increase the stitch length, and then you can just lock it in there, so as you move it up and down to forward and reverse your stitch, it'll stay, the stitch length is going to stay in that position, I think. Here's another thing I noticed. See this wheel here? And this, now notice I can't turn this anymore, right? It was turning before. I gotta move this off of that to here, to this position, then it moves. So whatever that is, that's the trick. And it does say lock on the bottom here. Once you go off to there, zero, this doesn't move. You got to come off of the 0 and then you get it to move, and as you go more, it moves further. Right? So on this position, which looks like a Roman numeral 1, it moves. You go, if I leave it there and I try to go more, it wouldn't. Right? Got to bring it over there. Then when I go down to the 0, it's locked in there. 1, it moves a little bit. 2, moves a little bit more. 3, even more. 4, goes all the way. And you can see it has 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 there. And then this last one is that. So whatever that does, I don't know. It says stitch width. Okay, so that's like, I don't know, whatever. I just want to see it work. So according to the manual, the thread, and I'm using red thread so it shows up, it goes in here first, this one, then on this part it's got 2 things. It goes into the first one and then into the second one like that. So you could see the thread there. I'll give you a close-up later on. Now it goes down and it comes around here. Let me see. Comes around here in this slot, then it comes up to this thing that goes up and down. So I'll bring that up to the top and then I'll pass it through here. Goes through there, then it comes down here. There's a thing under here I'll show you later on. It goes in there and then it goes through the needle. Well, it says place the thread either in the front or the back tension slot. But it's from front to back, so I got to do that, and then I'll pull up the one in the bobbin. If you could see, I'm using a needle threader because I couldn't do it any other way. So I pass the needle threader from back to front through the eye of the needle, and then I'm going to put the thread through here and then pull the needle threader back out. So you can see I've got the thread through the opening of the needle threader, and I'll just pull it back and the thread is now through the eye of the needle. Now I'm going to pass it down and bring it up. Hang on there. Well, I got it done. Got the black thread from the bobbin from the bottom here, and I got the red. So from the reel, it goes into this part, right? You can see that hole. Then it goes into this part here, into here, this slot, and then it comes around and goes down this bottom slot, so you could see the thread going in between these two, and then from there it goes into the tensioner, right? And they said either the front or the back slot, and goes around here, comes up from right to left, goes through this hole in this thing, then it goes down here and into, there's a thing here, whatever it is, like a little latch, and it goes into the needle, and then I just brought up the thread. So I'm going to try and find a piece of cloth now and see if anything could stitch. Well, I've got a piece of cloth in here, and I drop down the presser foot. I'll see what happens when I give it a go. That's my presser foot, that's my foot control. I'm on forward, I guess, I don't know. Looks like it's stitching. Stitch length, that, let me give it stitch length, let me give it a little longer stitch length, the longest. Lock that in and go again. Yeah, let's go again. Let me give you a good view. Here's my presser foot. Oh no, that's a foot control. Used as a hand control right now. Wow, isn't that great? Huh? Let's take it out and see what the thread looks like. Now, to get this out, you're going to lift up this here at the back, and that raises this presser foot, and then I could just bring that out. So happy that worked so nice. Cut that. And let's look at the stitching and see. So remember, we had red on the top as a red thread and black on the bottom. It's stitched, but I don't know if it's like part zigzag, because remember we had this thing in here and some other controls that I don't know about, but there you could see it did stitch. Here's the other side, the red side, and you could see all of the oil from what's inside of the sewing machine, but it works. It works. I'm so happy about that. I gotta thank Sibel for giving me the sewing machine. Thank you very much, Sibel. And I'll send it away, and they'll finish up doing all of the servicing on it, fine-tuning it, because I just did what I did out of my mechanical background. I don't really know anything about sewing machines, so that's it. But I'm so happy it works. And they're gonna have to get a rubber for this wheel. You see, this is turning now. You're gonna have to get a rubber for here when it goes down on that. There you have it, friends. A 1958 Kenmore sewing machine made in Germany, and from start to finish, how I got it working. And I'll put in a lot of stills at the end of the video, so you'll see maybe somebody has a sewing machine like this, they want to know about it. Hopefully my video will be shed a little light on their questions. So here we go. It's alive! It's alive! That's red on top, black on the bottom.